Alright, what's up guys? Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Today I just want to be talking about 3 different lighting setups and a quick editing tutorial on each of these 3 photos. So a little more context about these 3 mini photo shoots. Basically for my 23rd birthday this year, I rented out a photo studio, invited 20 of my friends, and I did a mini photo shoot with each of them. None of my friends are models or, some of them are artistic, but basically just like help me out. I get content for my photo shoots, and I just thought it was a fun way to spend my birthday. And these are 3 of my favorite photo shoots I did. And I had about 3 hours to do about all 20 of my friends. So each photo shoot was maybe about like 10 minutes, some a little bit less, some a little bit longer. I did all the lighting designs and setups myself. I had one of my friends do a little bit of BTS footage. You're gonna see some of that. But yeah. So every photo was shot on my Sony a7 III, pretty much with my Sigma 35 1.4 contemporary lens. I have a Dream FX filter from Prism FX, and some of the photos I went down to 1.4, and then ISO I usually shoot around 4000 honestly. I have a Sony full frame camera, and then the denoise tool and Lightroom works really well, so I went up to 4000 ISO on a lot of these photos, and the shutter speed is whatever shutter speed I need to expose properly. And then I'll try and find the exact settings and put them up in the video. But let's get started with the first look. Alright, so the first look that I want to go over is my friend Chris. So these are what the photos look like. So that bar that you see behind him, I actually used a projector for that. And before I continue, I just want to show you the lighting diagram. So let's go with the lighting diagram. So the person in the middle, that's always going to represent Chris. I had a Ambifull 80-watt light from a C-stand extension arm shining directly down at him. That was colored red, so that's the red that you see in the frame. This over here, that was a projector creating the backsplash behind him. I just used a simple shape diagram in Photoshop to project that behind him, so I just connected my laptop to the projector, and the projector was off behind me and to the side, so any projector could work. I recommend that you get a short throw projector. That basically means you don't need as large of a room. You can put the projector pretty close to the wall and try and find a projector with keystone projection. That means instead of if the wall is here and the projector is right there, that means you can angle the projector a little bit. That way you don't get a shadow. If say if you have the model here and the projector there, you won't get a shadow where the person is standing or sitting. And if you use keystone projection on the keystone adjustment on the projector, you can angle the projector all to the side and you avoid a shadow beam basically on the wall. So that's how I got the backsplash on the wall. I had one of my friends hold a light bar about 45 degrees in front of Chris. Then I had another friend hold a Falcon F7, basically a square RGB light. So both the Falcon F7 light and the light bar were set to a pretty warm temperature, probably around 2800 Kelvin. And yeah, that was my lighting setup. And here's some BTS footage of that. So I've worked with Chris a few times in the past, so we actually have a pretty good flow. So as you can see, that's the Ambifull 80-watt light I was talking about, shining down. You got the red fill. I'm just using a general cone modifier on that light, nothing special. And here you can see my friend that's holding that Falcon F7 light. I just noticed that with the red was really overpowering, and I wasn't getting enough reflection from the projector off the cyc wall. So I just wanted a little bit of a rim light and to separate him from the background a little bit, which is why I had my friend position the Falcon F7 light back there. And then I had another friend off frame, you can't see it, but it's right behind me to the left of me, holding my Godox LC500 light bar, also at about 2800 Kelvin. And so the raw photo for that looks just like this. So pretty good result out of camera. And as you can see in the edited photo, the backsplash on the wall is actually tinted purple. You can see it better in a few other photos. But to make that purple, I just wanted to add more color in Lightroom. So I actually made a made an adjustment, a color adjustment. So you just go to your adjustment tab, use the eyedropper, you click on the backsplash, and you just refine your adjustment. And then I basically just turn the hue to purple. And then for the rest of the photo, I raised the brightness a little bit, increased the contrast a lot, added clarity to his face, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. And I just repeated the steps for the other photos, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Honestly, this is probably my favorite lighting design from my birthday photo shoot. So honestly, a pretty similar lighting design. Let's go back to that lighting diagram. Same thing with the projector. I just used a different shape on my computer to project behind her. Instead of the horizontal light bar, I just used more of a box, basically just a vertical rectangle that I rotated in Photoshop. And then I had Nia stand almost directly in front of it, maybe 3 feet in front of it. I had a blue light using my Ambifold 80-watt light. Just a little bit of a blue fill coming down. That wasn't my key light this time or a main fill. It was just a little bit to add blue to her face, just because I thought it was interesting. And then my key light was actually my Godox LC500 light bar. Again, I had another friend hold it just right in front of her, off to the left behind me as I was shooting with the camera. And yeah, so because I had Nia standing close to the cyc wall this time, the light from the projector was really reflecting off the cyc wall, so I was able to help light up Nia a lot. And then that light bar, I just really set that intensity high. This time I'm using color temperature. I actually turned the light bar to an orange RGB color, and I probably set that to about 50%. So some BTS footage of that. And the reason why I had that blue light above her is also just to fill in the space around the projector, just so it wasn't just like a blank wall. I just wanted there to be contrast between the projection on the cyc wall and, you know, basically see that it was a clear projection, which is why I had that top fill light be blue. And yeah, because I didn't have a lot of time, poses were relatively simple. And this is what some of the raw files look like. And to edit this is pretty simple. I just did a subject adjustment layer in Lightroom, increased the clarity on the subject / Nia, and then I highlighted just the background, reduced the clarity on all of that. Then a global exposure, I raised the contrast and the exposure, turned up the brightness a little bit, and that was pretty much the editing I did. Nothing crazy. The most editing I did was on this last look that I want to go over with you. This is my friend Kadeem. So I did not use a projector for this. So basically I used another top-down light setup. As you can see, there's a square around him sitting on the floor. I actually had these gobos that are supposed to be a window gobo, so there's supposed to be a bunch of little rectangles basically that makes it look like window blinds. And I have a Ambifold projection attachment that's bones mount, so I just slide it into my Ambifold light. But I forgot the holder for the gobo, and because it was upside down, I just figured out that I could still place the gobo in without it like being secured, but because it was right against the glass basically, it just looks like a giant blur of a rectangle. And I couldn't like the focus the lens exactly to get the blind shape, so it just turned into a rectangular blur basically, and I just went with it, and I still thought the concept turned out pretty cool. I would definitely change the lighting setup if I had time, but this is my third photo shoot of the day. I was worried that if I spent a lot of time trying to perfect this lighting setup, I wouldn't have enough time for the rest of my friends later on in the photo shoot. So basically that top-down red light from my Ambifold with the projection attachment, that was my key light and honestly a fill light. And then I had my light bar position. So if Kadeem's here, I'm standing here with the camera. I had the light bar basically right here on the ground. It has barn doors on it for the color temperature side of the light bar. And I basically made the barn doors a little sliver because his face was dark and I wasn't going to be able to raise the shadows in post. So I made it a little sliver with the light, but honestly, I should have just opened up the barn doors all the way or just set the intensity to 100. I think I had the intensity at 20%. And then I think I put just a little bit of a backsplash on the cyc wall behind it with a second Ambifold light with just a cone attachment, just because I knew that the exposure overall would be way too dark. But basically for editing, I had to raise the exposure a lot, and I really had to use that denoise, the new denoise tool in Lightroom, because there's a ton of noise, as you can imagine. The raw file looks pretty dark already, but the denoise tool worked really well, thankfully. For a lot of these photos, I just took a circle brush and masked out every area around the rectangle and Kadeem. So I used both the subject and custom brush to fill in the rectangular. And I inverted that and just lowered the exposure, so it's just a black frame around the red square and Kadeem. And yeah, so I got inspiration from my old photos for this. I'll put that up here. That's basically where I got the inspiration, just to black out all the negative space basically. And then once I raised the exposure, I noticed that the red wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be, so I lowered the red brightness in the HSL tab, increased the clarity on his face, tried to raise the shadows as much as I could, but I still noticed there was a lot of noise. And you might say this is a cop-out, but I just added in grain, went for more of a grainy edit, just to try and raise that noise a little bit. And yeah, honestly, raise the highlights, and then yeah, that's pretty much what I did for these photos. So it's a quick, simple lighting tutorial about these 3 looks. All of these mini shoots were done about 10 to 15 minutes per person. And yeah, I just want to start going over more lighting design and quick editing tutorials about some of my photos. I don't think my style is that unique, but I do notice when it comes to this type of style of photography, like dark and moody, there aren't a lot of lighting tutorials out there, so I hope to change that for people that are trying to get into these really colorful or projector-based photo shoots, or just dark and moody photo shoots, that hopefully these lighting tutorials will help inspire people and help them plan out different photo shoots. Because when I was trying to learn these type of lighting designs, there weren't any lighting tutorials, and yeah, I hope to do more of my photo shoots in a style of video like this. And let me know if you want a specific tutorial about any of my photos, and you can follow me and see more of my work online on my website, znavisuals.com, or you can go on Instagram, that's where I'm most active, also at zna_visuals. So I hope you learned something from this, and I'll see you in the next video.